terrifying role for many people to play. What sort of inspired you to take on such a death challenge?
Well, yeah, let me try to put this succinctly. First of all, thank you. It's very nice to be on your show and speak with your fans and get a closeness with Ireland, which I dearly love. I'm wearing my Irish sweater, by the way. It was bought in Canada, in Victoria, where my wife is from, but it is an Irish sweater, so I pay homage to you in the country. Um, Mauro Borelli is a great director. This is my third project with him. War Hunt was the first one. We shot in Riga, Latvia, and then I did Mind Cage with Martin Lawrence and John Malkovich. And then this one was coming up this past year. And Mauro said, I don't know what I'm going to offer you yet, but it's something, it's going to be something good. And he didn't send me the script. And he said, okay, I got the perfect part for you. I want you to play Satan. And I was like, what? Satan? I thought, you can't get any more of a bad guy than Teabag in Prison Break. But I thought, well, why not? Let's just go for Satan. And Satan only has like two, three, maybe four scenes in it. And just as I was kind of like, I was researching and I was looking at all the different pictures of Satan and the different apparitions that he has been painted, snake and dust and wind and colors and stuff like that. Just as I was getting ready to think, okay, yeah, I could play Satan. He calls me up and says, no, 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 no. I don't want to waste this. I don't want to waste your talents. I want you to play Judas. And I was like, whoa, I have no idea who Judas is because I grew up in a small country town and yeah, my sister and I went to church, but our religion was Sunday school and coloring Christmas calendars. And that was it. I mean, I colored in Jesus Christ and I never learned anything about religion. And my wife, on the other hand, grew up as a child, very religious, shoved down her throat, in fact. So I pumped her with a lot of questions about this guy named Judas. I tried to immediately take on the role as if this story was happening right now, not an old biblical, like, push the dust off this story. It's happening right now. And it was actually very easy to do that because I saw it as, when you see the film, I think you'll share this feeling. It's a very immediate story in that the life of Jesus Christ is really being threatened. And the disciples, the friends of his, who know and love him, of which I would consider Judas one of them, he is the 12th disciple, if you will. They were very concerned for his safety. And we were going through a lot of crap in America around the time that I was shooting this in Ouarzazate, Morocco. There were assassination attempts on Trump. And there was a serious threat to what are these dark forces that are going on they're trying to kill people. The last time I felt something like that, and it wasn't my real life, but I had the great honor and privilege and torment to play Bobby Kennedy in a miniseries years ago when I was the same age as when Bobby was shot and killed. And there was a clear and present danger that Bobby, what's a totally different story, but Bobby totally ignored. Jesus knows in this story that there's something going on, and he feels like, guys, I can't talk about this, but I think my days are numbered. And everything I talked about with Mauro was about how this guy, whose name is Judas, and I tried to forget the history, the weight, as you're saying, of this man who did this horrible thing, and basically changed nature for Christians around the world. It became this religion and of Christianity. Excuse me. And I always approached him as not as a bad guy, but as somebody who was trying to get his buddies, his friends, to say, guys, look, we don't have. Judas was in charge. I learned all these things through my wife. Judas was the treasurer of the organization, if you will. This group of people that believed very much in this man who had these powers and could do these incredible things like create fish, bring bread, heal people. Uh, but no one seemed to have any sense of money. No one seemed to have any cares in the world about the fact that these guys are all just like partying and singing and hey, let's get together and heal people. But nobody cares about money. And the only one who seemed to care about it was Judas. And Judas knew that there you can only have miracles for so long before something's going to go wrong. Rome is breathing down Judas's throat. When Mauro offered me Satan, I thought, why don't we? How about I pitched this idea to him. It didn't work out, but the idea was, why don't you let me play Satan as well as Judas? Because again, just from a layman's point of view, not being I would consider myself very spiritual, but not until this movie. I would not consider myself religious. Um, when we get into trouble as human beings, when we're in doubt, it's like those old cartoon characters, you know, and they're sitting there and this little angel comes up on your shoulder and says, "Don't do that, Robert. That God wouldn't like that. That's not a very." And the little devil pops up on this shoulder. Ah, come on. What are they gonna do? You'll get away with it. Nobody will catch you. You'll be just fine. No, 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 don't do. Yeah, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And I thought that's kind of what we do as people. Hopefully, we're you don't even have to be Christian. You can be any religion. Just have to have good parents who teach you right and wrong. Don't kill people. Don't hurt them. Be a good person. Treat others like you would want to be treated yourself. Judas is having just this horrible problem with trying to get through life with I love this guy Jesus, but we don't have any money. They don't seem to care that we don't have any money. I got Rome breathing down my neck, like saying, "Hey man, are you following the wrong person? Maybe you should be thinking about following us." And then because Judas is so confused and he doesn't know he needs help to try to figure out how to get through these next several days, including this next night, which is the night of the Last Supper. He's open to suggestion. He's open to Satan. And so the idea of Tomato was, why don't you let me play? I'm a chameleon actor. I have disguises. You guys, the Irish and the English and the Welsh, these people are the people that influenced me to become an actor. Your guy mostly was Peter O'Toole. And there was the Welsh, there was the Richard Burtons, and there was the English, the Laurence Olivier, that to me were chameleon actors. And I thought, I'm a chameleon actor. I've always been a character actor. Even when I was a little young pretty boy, I always wanted to be a character actor. I don't even call them character actors. I just call them what I do. What I do is I play a character, and I play a character hopefully uh, where nobody knows I'm acting, that they just believe that I'm that guy. I'm not acting, or as the British would say, no acting, please. We're British, and you could say the same thing as Irish. No acting, please. We're Irish. I don't want anyone ever to say, "Aha, I caught you." There's the moment where I know you're acting. And the idea behind Judas was to keep him very present, very concerned, very worried, knowing full well what Jesus was doing right in front of Judas's eyes, in front of all of our eyes, of these incredible miracles that were he just keeps throwing them out right and left without being exhausted at all. And it's not until the end of the film when everything is coming down on Judas that he I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It's all in the Bible. It's all in the movie, but it feels in the film and the way we filmed it. It feels very much clear and present danger happening right in the moment, and that for that I applaud Mauro because he took that part of the story and made it very scary and very present. And a lot of directors. Sorry, one last thing. A lot of directors, you know, when you're acting in a scene, they say, "Could you pick up the tempo? Can you get rid of the pauses, please? Can we just go?" Bump, 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 bump. Mauro let scenes breathe. He really did. Um, they Faulkner and I were, I mean, we took some massive pauses in our scenes together, and they are some of the best scenes I think in the movie. And you watch the reaction of the characters as opposed to just the acting, and the reactions are gold. They're amazing. I had so much fun working on this movie. It was so intense, but it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. And Robert, I know from speaking to Natalie in terms of the location where you shot in Morocco, I do believe she spoke to me that it was used for the first Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe back in the day as well, in terms of that. And we all know that that was ahead of its art, ahead of its time in terms of visionary outlooks, in terms of visual effects. And this movie is visually stunning in terms of its backdrops, in terms of its location as well. And do you almost get a feel? Was this your first time working in that sort of studio lot in Morocco?
Uh, I actually shot just up the hill on the Lost Princess with Hisham, not too far from there. So I was familiar with the area. I hadn't been on that particular studio. That studio is blessed because it is really all about a biblical village, just a maze of hallways and sets and like things that look like Rome and things that could be Bethlehem or Jerusalem. So it's always there. It's always ready to be used for that purpose. You couldn't shoot, you know, a Mission Impossible there, but you could shoot anything that's biblical.
Yeah, and I do believe, Robert, as well, that this movie really explores the friendship and the relations between Peter and Judas. It's not only just Jesus and Judas. We get to see the conversations, the lives of the apostles. Interacting with each other in terms of that as well, and an awful lot is explored about the background of Peter and Judas, and it's amazing to say mention that James Oliver Whitley plays Peter as well, and there's some poignant scenes there as well.
Well, let me tell you something. These main guys are freaking amazing, and they've all become very good friends as well. And Wheatley is Wheatley is solid. Wheatley is he's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's definitely got it. And we have become great friends. And there was this push me pull you kind of fighting with each other, the characters of Judas and Peter. And we didn't talk about the scenes. We didn't discuss them. There was no intellectualizing of the scenes. We just did it. We just jumped in, and Judas and Peter are always, they're kind of at each other's throats because I'm Judas is saying to Peter, "Hey man, calm down. Calm down. You're too worried about Jesus." And Peter's like, "You're not worried enough." And there was always this conflict with each other, and it was so great. And the only thing that I remember, not the only thing I learned, but the one great lesson I learned from Bill Esper. I went to Northwestern and I learned a lot there, but I really learned how to act in New York with the foremost teacher of the Meisner technique. His name was William Esper, Bill Esper. And it was all about reacting as opposed to acting. Robert Duvall is one of the greatest Sanford Meisner actors. And Bill took it from Meisner and to the next generation. And Bill would always say, you can do anything to another actor. You can say anything. You can shout at them. You can scream at them. You just can't hurt them. You can't ever hit another actor. You can hit them with words because words, sticks and stones may break my bones. That's all good. But that's the key thing. And Wheatley and I would just we would just go at each other with words. And that's the key thing, man. You never ever, you hear stories about actors say, I got this scene where I'm supposed to pop the guy. I'm gonna really pop him. You don't pop the guy. You never pop the guy. You're about this far away when you throw a punch. It's a stunt. There are some actors that don't believe that. They're like, I'm just gonna go for it. And you can't go for it. But you can do anything with love and you can do anything with hate, with words. And I can't wait to find another project with Jamie Ward, Wheatley, uh, these guys, Faulkner. I mean, they're just. I would love to find something Reservoir Dogs like kind of thing where we're all in like suits and thin black ties and just pulling off a I don't know a big heist or something. But whatever it is, or a comedy, definitely a comedy. That would be ideal. Could you please write us a comedy, please? You say you're a writer now.
Yeah,
Maybe you could
I
get
have been for years as well. Yeah, I could definitely
maybe you
make
could
up
get
something.
your Irish friends because I really 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 want to shoot in Ireland. I've never shot there. Of course, I'd love to shoot in Dublin, but I would love to shoot on the West Coast, on
West
Clare
Coast
Island.
is where all the castles are, all the old Viking and
Yeah,
Norman castles are, in terms of all the sites, in terms of all the forts and the Celtic heritage, in terms of the Celts and all that.
yeah.
You get all
No,
that
it
on
would,
the
it
West
would
Coast.
be it would be a dream come true to shoot. I'd love to shoot a series in Ireland, to be there for an extended period of time. That would be oh, just work on it for me, will you, please?
I will, Robert. That, no doubt about that. We'll have to stay in touch. We'll have to stay in touch.
Okay.
Robert, I do believe you mentioned there you have been to Ireland in the past, and what has that experience like for you in terms of, I know it was a bit of downtime, a bit of recreation. How did you find it?
Well, it's a little bit of a story. Sorry, if it gets boring, if the screen suddenly goes dark, I'll know you just cut me off and said I'm moving.
No
I'm
fear
going
of
back.
that, Robert.
I'm going back to Wheatley and get another interview with him. Excuse my cold. Sorry. So I told you that the reason I became an actor really was because of Laurence Olivier. He was my favorite actor when I was a teenager. I loved Brando, I loved De Niro, I loved Jimmy Dean, but it was the English, the Welsh, the Irish actors, especially O'Toole. O'Toole for me was just like, oh my God. Lawrence of Arabia is just one of my favorite films on the planet. And I get lost when I watch these people act. And especially Olivier because he did so many different kind of characters. And you could always tell it was Olivier, but there was something always with the noses or the voice or something. And all of a sudden, I'm asked to be the lead in this Tennessee Williams play called Sweet Bird of Youth at the National Theatre in London. Richard Eyre, who was the artistic director of the theater and also directing the play, apparently couldn't find who he wanted to play the part of Chance Wayne in the play. So he came to New York, and the casting director showed him like I don't know 5, 10 people, and he picked me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to London. I'm going to be at the National Theatre. I'm going to be at Laurence Olivier's theater, who he designed and created the National Theatre for England. And I thought, oh my God, I'm there. And the great thing about that theater, one of the great things, is that you open the play and you run it for about uh, I don't know 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then you're down for like 2 weeks while another play opens up, and then you're put into rotating rep with that play, and then another play opens. So about every 5, 6 weeks, excuse me, you get about 2 weeks off. I had a dear friend that I had grown up with in Ohio, and she's great friends with my sister and me. She was first generation, no, second generation Irish. Her father was born in Ireland. And she and the family always went to Ireland every year. And as an adult, I had heard through her family that she lived on Clare Island. And her name was Carrie, but I think she took on her Gaelic name, Kira. Yeah, that's how it was. And I wrote her. I don't think we even had cell phones back then. We might have. I don't know. This was in the early 90s, I think. I invited her to my play. She came to opening night. She invited me to Clare Island after my little break of 2, 3 weeks. She said, okay, I want to take you back to Galway and I want to show you this amazing, I call them God's steps, the burns. Like you go from the coast, right? And it's flat. And you look ahead of you and you see ahead of you like this like plateau. It's like 5 feet high. And it goes as far as you can see to the left or the right. And you walk a little bit further inland, and then there's another like little cliff, and it's about 7 feet high, if my memory serves me right about this. and you climb them like steps. Only I call them God's steps because they're huge. It's like a huge terrain of these limestone, maybe. I think
Yeah,
it's limestone.
limestone. Yeah.
Um, until we get to this one cliff that's about, and this is somewhere I can't tell you exactly where we entered
You're
at this
probably
point.
around the Burn. You were probably around the Burn region, the karst limestone landscape. Probably around near the Cliffs of Moher, near Clifton, around that area.
Okay, so we started from the coast.
Yeah.
We parked the car, and Galway we can see is way north up along the coast. It's up there a bit. Excuse me, sorry. So we look at this cliff, and this cliff is about, I'd say it's a good 40 feet high. And Kira and my sister and I, when we were kids, we used to climb trees. We loved climbing trees in where I grew up in this area. So Kira looks at this and goes, and we look at it and go, okay, we're looking at three different ways to get up this cliff. I mean, we can go all the way around to where it levels off to this plateau where we are, but we're like, nah, we don't want to do that. We want to be like kids again. And we were in our 30s, I think, 40s when we did. I can't remember how old I was. 30s, I think. We look up at the cliff and we go, okay, there's three ways to do this. We can do the really hard way, which is straight up. And it looks like it's really steep. We're like, no, that's too dangerous. We're not going to do this. Uh, we can walk all the way around, which we're not going to do because that's for wussies, and we're not wussies. We're kids again. Or we're going to take this one path that looks like if we go diagonally, switch back and forth up, we should be able to get over to the top. And then we'll be at the next level. And we don't even know what is the next level, but that's the level. We're talk about staying in the moment. We are truly moment to moment people in this moment. And so we start. And Kira was like, we're just animals going up this side of this hill. For the first part of it, just grass growing out of the side of this cliff. And we're grabbing the grass and we're going up the side of the cliff until we get to the point where there's no more grass, it's just rock. And we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. And then all of a sudden, near the top, which we couldn't tell from down at the bottom, I look up and I realize the cliff is like that. And we're here. And it's not like this, and we go whoosh over the top. It's like this. And I look up and I look down, and I swear to God, there's like 30, 40 feet below us. And I knew there was no way down. We had to go up and over the top of that cliff. And I grew up in climbing trees, like I told you, but then in California, I love to go to Joshua Tree. It's this beautiful national park. There are these huge boulders. People just use them. It's called bouldering. You do it with your hands, feet. You don't ropes or anything. You can do that on bigger cliffs, but you just do hands and knees,
Yeah.
like just animals, just up and down these boulders. I also knew when I was at the Joshua Tree that you got to know your limits, and you got to know what you think you can do. You got to know I have a way out of this in case something goes wrong. And I always knew that it was time to really trust those instincts if I had what I called the fear in my bones. And at that moment, I looked at that cliff, and we're here, and this cliff is bowing out against us as opposed to like being an easy way. It's like this. And I had the fear in my bones, and I thought, there's a very good likelihood that one or both of us are going to not make it over the top of this thing. And so I thought, okay, I got to protect Kira. I said, Kira, here's what I think we should do. I didn't tell her the truth at first. I said, I'm going to wedge myself into this cliff here. Here's the bottom, 30, 40 feet down below. And I want you to get on my shoulders. I'm going to hoist you up over the top, and you get up over there. And then when you're up there, I want you to, just reach over with your hands and you'll pull me up. And I knew darn well that I wasn't going to let her do that because I don't know what she was going to be able to hold on to up there. but I just wanted her to be safe. That was the most important thing for me. So I get her on my shoulders. I get her up over the top of the cliff. She reaches down. She's holding out her hands for me. And I said, Kira, I got the fear in my bones. And I don't have faith. I don't trust and I don't have faith that this is going to happen, that you're going to be able to, I'm going to be able to let go of my feet off the side of this cliff, and you're going to be able to pull me up and over the edge of this cliff to be up there with you. I said, the only thing I know what to do, and I can't go down. I can't go up and I can't go down. The only thing I know what to do is to ask you to please take the long way around and go back down on the ground below me and go back to the coast and just find somebody, find somebody who can help me. Um, she said, "Are you sure? Are you going to be able to stay on this cliff?" And I said, I think I can wedge myself up against the cliff. Sorry, it's my chair squeaking behind me. I can wedge myself up against the cliff. And there was like a little ledge that I could kind of sit on, but I still had to use my legs to keep me up against the side of the cliff. I didn't have to use my hands. I could keep them free. So she goes. And about a half hour later, I see her at the bottom. She waves to me. She's on her way back to the coast to try to get some help. We have no idea who, what, where, how this is going to happen, but this was the only answer. So I'm stuck on the side of this cliff for 5 hours. And I went through lightning storms, thunderstorms. I went through beautiful sunny sky. I saw wild sheep walking, down below. I saw goats kind of look up at me and wonder what the heck was going on, and then they would keep going. And the only thing that kept me sane and the only thing that kept me going was I was playing the lead role in this Tennessee Williams play. So I started just working on my lines. I'd only done the play for a couple of weeks now. And every line that I said, I was saying it like I was doing it in the play, and I went, "Oh my God, that sucks. Why am I doing it that way? That is just horrible. No wonder I got so many bad reviews. That is just, I got a few good reviews, but mostly it was like, Claire Higgins is amazing and Robert Knepper it's crap." And I went, yeah, that's crap. That's shite. And I got to the point where I was so upset with what I had been doing in the play that I literally almost threw myself off the cliff, off the edge of up this mountain, because I thought, I'm so bad. I don't want to go back to London and do this play because I'm horrible. And the only thing that got me through waiting 5 hours was to meticulously go through every second of the play. And this character is always on stage. He never leaves the stage. I never did get through the whole play. In the entire time that I was on it got dark. And finally, way in the distance, I saw these two torches. And it was Kira had found this guy. He was from Switzerland, and he was a teacher, and he had rented one of those like covered wagons. They looked like Conestoga wagons in the Wild West. And he had a horse-drawn wagon, and he had like 2 or 3 of his students, and they were just going up along the coast. And here's Kira and this old guy, this Walt Whitman kind of guy, walks up at the bottom of the cliff. He's got a big coils of rope on his shoulder. She had found somebody and flagged him down in the wagon and said, "Hey, can you help me out? I got a friend who's stuck on the side of the burns." And the guy they're standing down there, and the old guy says, can you come down?" I said, "No, I can't come down. You have to come up." So I had to wait another half hour for them to come up to the top of the cliff. Easy peasy. He throws the rope over. He gets his feet stuck in there and pulls me up over the edge. We went to a great pub in Galway, and I witnessed my first time ever in Ireland of the guy get up and dance and on this great wooden floor. And we each had pints, and it was like we just laughed about the whole thing. But I just thought, wow, it took that experience for me to realize how much I sucked and how much I had to be better. Hey, I said to you off camera. Just there's a Saudi film. It's a comedy. It opens in June. I can't remember the name of it right now because I'm the only guy who speaks English. But watch it if you can.